Alright, welcome back to the next video in this series. It is a very simple breakout game, or brick breaker game, however you wish to call it. In the last video we got the project set up, got some layers set up, we made a background sprite, and made some folders. So in this video I am going to make all the sprites for the game. Let's make sure in our layout tab that the game layer is selected. I'm going to come back over to projects and we can click anywhere in here, select the sprite, and just click anywhere to place. Resize it. Let's go 30 by 30. I'm going to zoom in a little. And I have this red. You can select, make your sprites any color you want. I'm going with red. And this is, I use the HSL right here. That's hue, saturation, illumination. And once you kind of select about what color you want, you can adjust these to get the different hue of your color that you want. The saturation, you can see that changing there. I'll go with something like that. And then your illumination, your brightness of it all. I think I'll stay right around there. Alright, you choose whatever color you'd like. Let's select the ellipse tool. I'm going to try to get as close to the center as I can. I'm just eyeballing this. And I have the border set up. I'm going to uncheck the border. And let's see how that works. And right there. Okay, so I was as close to the center as I could get, and what happened was to make an even circle, even on all sides of the circle shape, it leaves 1 pixel at either the top or bottom and 1 pixel on either left or right. So I'm going to take the selection tool right up here, and I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to select to where everything is inside this selection box. And then I'm going to hit the crop tool. So what this did was when we set it up, remember this was 30 by 30. Now it's 29 by 29, which it has to be an odd number for it to be even on all sides like that. So that is what I want. I'm going to click on the origin tool. And let's select middle, right in the middle. Another thing we need to do is the bounding box. We have a square here. Just right click on any one of these points and go to guess the polygon shape. This is pretty close. I'm going to just kind of go in here and touch up some of these angles. Make sure we're covering as much of the ball as we can with only 8 points. You can add more points, but it is advised not to. As you get more points in a collision box, performance starts to suffer. In this particular type of game, we probably wouldn't see too much suffering because it's not a very graphically or physics demanding game, performance demanding game. All right, I'm going to exit out of that. It's still selected. Come up here and rename it ball. Alright, I'm going to just place our ball somewhere, I don't know, let's say right there. Come up here. I know that the width is 480 and I want it to be in the center. So, oh hey look, it's already 240. 240 is right in the middle, that's what I want. And, oh my goodness, 666. Let's change that. Let's go with 700. There we go. So that will be where we place the ball. Another thing before we move forward, make sure that you are saving every once in a while. It's a very good habit to get in. And let's go ahead and double click anywhere and add a sprite. Alright, this one, let's add the player, the paddle. And that, we'll change its size. That will be 120 by 30. So now we have this rectangle. I'm going to keep that bounding box where it is. Let's change the origin to the middle, right in the center. And what I did there was I used my number pad on my keyboard. If you look at your number pad, it starts at the top left, 7, 8, 9, then the next row 4, 5, 6, the bottom row 1, 2, 3. That is a square with a number in the middle. So your 7, if you press 7, it's the top left, 9 is the top right, 2 is the bottom middle, and 5 is right in the center, and so on. So that's a nice little shortcut that I like to use. And of course, if you don't have a number pad, just right click over here on the origin, quick assign, and we would be using middle. All right. I am going to pick the fill tool, this little paint bucket. I'm going to go with green. This is going to be our main player paddle. And I'm going to go just something like that. This is what I have chosen. And I'm going to fill it. And then I'm going to take the rectangle. No, let's take the line tool. Come over here to this little grid looking thing. And that is our grid. Configure the grid 1 by 1 is what I want. So 1 by 1 with the edges picked for snapping. And then we'll just turn it on. Alright. Back over here at our color, this is the color we have selected. I'm going to just slide the luminance up to a really lighter green, kind of brighter, almost white, but still green. And I'm going to count down from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4 pixels. Click and drag my line all the way across. That's good. And then the same thing up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Click and drag all the way down. Then select the fill tool. And I'm going to fill it. Next, I'm going to take our eyedropper tool here and click in our original green color. That sets this color to the original color we picked. And then I'm going to slide it all the way, or not all the way, but get a pretty good dark green color. Select my line tool and do the same thing here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe something like that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. Fill tool. Fill these in. Now select the pencil tool right here. And I'm going to zoom in. That's just hold Control down on the keyboard and scroll up on your mouse wheel. And I'm going to fill in these 6 little squares here. So it looks like that. And then we can come over here to this bottom left and do the same thing. Fill those in. And then when we zoom out, turn our grid off. That is our player paddle. All right. Looks good. I'm going to rename this paddle. And then I will place it somewhere down in here. Then I can go up here to position. And I know that 240 is right in the middle because we have our origin point set to the middle of the paddle. And I am going to choose, let's say, 780. All right, that looks good. That's where it will stay. Okay, make sure you save often. If you have the ability to have subfolders, let's go ahead and move our sprites into the sprites folder. If not, if you have a free trial version, you don't have subfolders, don't worry about it. Everything will just be under this object types folder. Not a big deal. Let's create another sprite. Click anywhere to place it. Let's change the size to, I'm going to make this one 100 by 30. Slightly smaller than our paddle, I think. Yeah. And I'm going to pick just a blue color. Yours can be anything. I think maybe something like that, perhaps. There we go. So here's what I'm using. Make yours any color you wish. Paint bucket tool, or the fill tool. Let's fill it up. And before we move on, let's check our origin. And I'm going to hit 5 on the keyboard, put it right in the middle, and make sure our bounding box is covering the whole box. If not, just right-click on one of these points and select Set to Bounding Box, and that will cover your whole square or rectangle sprite. All right, with that blue color selected, I'm going to slide this over to a much brighter or whiter color of blue. I'm going to turn my grid on, select the line tool, and go 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way across, and 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down. Get my fill tool and fill it up. Hopefully you're a much better artist than I am, but this just helps add, even if you're not an artist like myself, who is not an artist, adding a little highlight and shadow to things can just change its look very easily. So the eyedropper tool, let's get this blue color back, and let's go slide it over to a much darker blue. Pick our line, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Fill tool, fill those in, and then the pencil tool, we can zoom in, fill those in, do the same thing on this corner, and there we go. Let's turn our grid off and rename it and call this block underscore blue. There we go. Name yours whatever you think seems appropriate. Let's see, for position, go down here. I'm going to choose position, I'm going to say 90 for the X value and 330 for the Y value. And we will add to this a little bit later, but that's going to be our starting point. All right, let's move block blue into the sprites folder. Let's create another sprite. This is going to be our play button. I will go into more detail about that a little later. I'm going to make this 150 by 100. All right, bounding box origin is going to be right in the middle. And I'm going to go to the paint bucket. And I'm going to pick, I'm going to go with a blue, maybe, I don't know, something like that. Pick any color you'd like. That's the one I'm going with. That's pretty hideous looking. I'm going to turn my grid on. And can't really get all of it in that. Pick my line tool. I'm going to pick a light shade of this blue. I'm going to go in here and say 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll make this one 5 pixels. And drag that all the way across. Do the same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pixels. All the way down. Get my fill tool. And then eyedropper this blue. And make that darker. Get the line tool back. And say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fill tool. Pencil tool. Zoom in and fill in these squares. Do the same thing on this corner. And our play button is done. He's going to go in the middle too. Let's rename him btn underscore play. That way if we want to add more buttons in the future, they can all be grouped together alphabetically with btn, and this one will be just the play button. For the position, let's put him at X value of 240, right in the middle, and 460. All right, good deal. Let's slide it into the sprites folder and make a couple more sprites here. This one is going to be 50 by 50, and I'm going to choose a red. Obviously, these will not be seen in game, so it doesn't really matter what color it is. Looks good to me. I'm gonna fill it and origin point to the middle. Click out of that. Let's rename this wall. And we will deal with that in a little bit. Let's create another sprite. And this time I'm going to choose like a purplish color for no reason at all. And with the fill tool, I'm just going to fill it. My origin point's in the middle, that's good. And I'm going to go back into it and change this to 50 by 50. There we go. And we'll slide this down here. That's where he's going to go eventually. Rename him Death. Or Game Over or something like that. Doesn't matter. Not going to be able to see it either. And let's see. I think we have one more to go. But this time, instead of sprite, let's pick particles. And click anywhere. Let's change this to 5 by 5. Pretty small, 5 by 5. I'm going to pick this blue color that I have up here. This is something really close to the brick, the blue brick right there that you created earlier if yours was blue. Let's take that same color, or very, very close to that color, as close as you can get. Let's pick the pencil tool, and I'm going to just make a little pattern here, like that. That is it. All right. This is the only particle that I'm going to make in this game, so I'm just going to leave it called particles. Let's come down here to the properties. The rate, I'm going to leave it 50. The spray cone, I'm going to say 359. That's 1 degree less than a full circle, but that one degree is not going to make that much difference. I want a one shot. And if you have the free version, you do not have the preview ability. And if you don't, just slide that particle onto your viewport somewhere in the middle and hit play. And you can see what it looks like. And then you can hit F5 to refresh it, and it'll play it each time. All right, so I can do that with the preview just here with the subscription version. Okay, come down here to speed. I'm going to leave that at 200. I'm going to change the size to 5. And acceleration minus 150. Speed randomizer can stay at 800. Fade to invisible. And timeout is going to be 0.5. I'm going to preview that again. And that is more like it. All right. Slide that off to the side. We don't want that in our viewport. And I'm going to save. And I'm going to take all of these, slide them into the sprites folder. All right, one last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go back into the ball, double click on the ball, and with the eyedropper tool, I'm going to pick the color. And then with the pencil tool, I come over here and get a lighter red, something like, I don't know, something like that. And I'm going to start right about here, somewhere around there, and I'm just freehanding this all the way up to there. It is not pretty. Again, hopefully you're a much better artist, and yours does not look as sad and pathetic as mine does. And I'm just doing, a few little touch-ups here. Let's fill that. I don't know. I really don't know. How about something like that? That's good enough for me. It's going to be pretty small, but I don't know. All right, I'm going to eyedropper, pick that color again, and this time, let's pick us a darker color. Get our pencil tool, and kind of do the same thing. I'm going to start down here this time, and just kind of go up like that. Maybe a little further down like that. And then just kind of fill it in. A little bit of highlight can go a long way. What you think? Something like that? Does yours look a lot better than mine, I hope? I really, really hope. Alright, how about that? That's beautiful. Just beautiful. Alright. That is it for the sprites. In the next video, we will start coding this thing and making it do stuff. I will see you then. Don't forget to save.